Let's move on to the Anunnaki. What does Anunnaki mean? Those who Anu is, those who Anu sent from heaven to earth. So Anu is the king of Nibiru. So he sent, the Anunnaki are a race of great humans that he sent. Nephilim means to fall down to earth. Right? So Nephilim are also Anunnaki, but they're given a different term. Now you're Nephilim. Now you're Anunnaki. You're still human-like, but a Nephilim to fall down.
Nephilim's not a reptilian breed or not? I thought they were.
They say it's reptilian, but you know what? There's
12-strand DNA.
Yeah, there's controversy in that. A Nephilim could be reptilian, but more than likely, it's a horny human that just came down.
No, but that's what I said. They had sex with all of these, our wives, so...
Igigi is 200 Martians marry Earth female adaptites. So 200 Anunnakis came down here to Earth, saw Earth female adaptites, and fell in love with them, married them. An adaptite is a hybrid of Homo erectus and Anunnaki genes. Okay, so it's not full Anunnaki, it's Anunnaki, Homo erectus, right? But they're still able to breed and create a kid. They were breedable humans, the adaptites. Okay, this is what they look like, the Anunnaki. They, their heads are, they have high heads. Cone heads. Yeah. But not cone heads back this way. Mostly cone heads going up. There's a difference between the back cone heads, yeah. Their eyes were quite large. The women were full-bodied. So the women had tiny waists, big breasts, and big buttocks. That's how they were built, right? And the men were built. Yeah, the men were also built muscular and you know, this being the top human race and developed, they made themselves super. 1,000 years from us, we'd be 8 feet tall. We'd be muscular. All the women would be tiny waist and big breasted. Yeah, their heads were a lot higher than ours, right? Okay, where are they from? Sirius star system, Orion star system, Planet X, Crossing planet, Nibiru, 8th planet, Risk Q. They have a base on Mars, base on Earth, Palladian. 600 came down to Earth. The Nephilim fell down, Elohim, Jabarians. These are just different names, Giborians, Nibiru, Igigi. I call them bipolar gods of the Bible. The Anunnaki are the gods of the Bible.
I just want to ask, so Anunnaki and Reptilian are the top dogs.
Yeah.
Talk about how the other ones were clones of these guys. Where did Reptilian and Anunnaki go?
Yeah, a good question. Somewhere down the point, right, from a little cell came, you know, a fish, came a more complicated animal, and more complicated animals started coming about. And then these cells started joining with each other and creating a collective conscious. And more complicated life started to be developed. And and reptilians developed, humans developed, and so they developed through natural rather than intervention, right? So so the Anunnaki, in my opinion, would have been us billions of years ago, right? Developing without assistance or help. Okay. Immortal gods. They're born to rule, ninth dimensional, 360 degrees. So these were super beings. Never mind sixth dimensional Thor. These guys that came here, specifically Anu, Anli, and Anki, these were ninth dimensional human beings. They have 360 degree vision, so they know everything and anything, just like God is portrayed as in the Bible. Demigods, offsprings to gods with earth, wind, men are renowned. So if a ninth dimensional being has a baby with a third dimensional being, then the child born will probably be a fourth or fifth, being a demigod. Naburian a common Naburian would be a sixth dimensional, right? So the leaders of the group would be DNA genetically much higher and well built. They employ android and organic robotoids. They're angels, servants of God. There's possibilities that those angels were holograms or possible robots that did their work. Now that came up in some of the work. They clone breeds. The first Adam and Eve that they created were more than likely not able to reproduce. So, they had to create an Adam and Eve that could actually reproduce together. And even on top of that, create an Adam and Eve that they themselves, the creator could enjoy himself. Go ahead.
We're saying, so they're ranging from 6th dimension to 9th dimension. So
yeah.
Eventually, I guess, maybe billions or millions of years, the 6th dimensionals would evolve to 9th dimension as well. Are the 9th dimensionals there? Would they be trying to hijack their evolution? Like, seems to be circling down in all the other dimensions. Is there an element of that going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you're born to rule, you have DNA genetics to rule, then you want to keep the ones that are being ruled to a certain level, right? And this.
Can you just quickly repeat the question so we're all in the loop of what the questions are?
Repeat the question. So, like on the slide, it says the Annunaki, they range from 6th dimension to 9th dimension. So eventually, 6th dimension, after millions of years, should evolve to 9th dimension. But I was asking, are the 9th dimensional guys, are they trying to sabotage their evolution? Kind of like what seems to be going on all the way down to creation. Almost down to this level where people say Illuminati are sabotaging our evolution. Is it a similar thing just going all the way down?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's happening right here, right now on our Earth. There is a ruling class that are trying to keep a certain group DNA to a certain level, and they're trying to upgrade their DNA. So, the biggest threat to humanity actually is the evolvement of humanity. And when you look at the people in power, they're doing an awful lot of work devolving humanity. And this is very prevalent. You don't see aliens with diseases. You don't see aliens in wheelchairs. Only here on Earth.
There's two standpoints to this. I don't fully agree with that statement. I also believe there's elevated beings that are here waiting, okay, to step in. Now, there's a war going on, all right? If I was to say, hey, look, I'm representing this side and that guy's representing that side, I blow my cover, or somebody blows their cover, all right? I also believe there's very good ETs out there that are 9th dimensional or higher, all right? So it's not all to contain us and everything else. There's a lot of good ETs out there. Okay, it's just unfortunately the ones that are in power on this planet, okay, happen to be aligned to the left-hand path.
The father to son Enki, son Anli, and daughter Ninma. So this was Anu's family, and he sent these kids here to the earth. He sided with son Anli against humanity. He was terrified of Enki's DNA in the human race. So Enki was the god that actually did the mixing or created the modern day human, or the Adam and Eve. So they were afraid of him because he through his race, all the children of Homo sapiens were all his family. So there's a huge thing here. So he was terrified of Enki's DNA in the human race. The Earth humans were so well made that they were not ever allowed to eat the bread or wine of immortality for fear of being overtaken by rulership. So this race had food and wine, bread and wine. That's what was written in the Sumerian tablets. They ate bread and wine. Bread and wine just like we do, but this bread and wine would keep them alive and pristine forever, right? So it was a huge pact that they would never allow humans to have that authority or that power or that food. Okay, Anli. Sometimes they call him Yahweh. He's the God of Abraham, Jacob, and Moses. He was a jealous God, the biblical God on earth. He demanded purity of race, responsible for the death of over billions of humans. Warred against his brother Anki and his DNA human seed. The Anlites were mostly Hebrews, and the people were against the Enkelites were mostly Gentiles. Yeah. But these two people were actually from the same stock, but they created the division between the two peoples. And Anli's is more than likely still alive today. They lived for 500,000 years. They probably choose their own death. They say he demanded male circumcision. He's the god who confused Meng's tongue, the Tower of Babel. Okay, Anki, aka he was called Ea, and he was called later Anki. And he was also called Satan. And is there anybody here that's knows Sanskrit? Nobody? Okay. In Sanskrit, you know, Satan means eternal truth. Eternal truth. Satan means eternal truth. So even before the Hebrew language existed, Satan was actually a great thing, or a great name. Wow, you're Lord Satan. And Enki took that very proudly. So, he was denied godship by father Anu and younger brother Anli. So they teamed up on him, the father and the son. So he became the god of the sea, or aka like Neptune. Awarded the title Satan before the Hebrew nation existed. Satan in Sanskrit defines as eternal truth. Anu and Anli blaspheme Satan to destroy truth and Enki. So even before Satan was created, they've destroyed the name in religions of this character. So who was Enki? Enki was the creator of Adam and Eve with his and his sister's DNA. Adam and Eve were clones who could not bear offspring. The first Adams and Eves, they were well built, but they could not reproduce. And he made many Adam and Eves. Not, he take different stocks of Homo erectus, and he made all kinds. Every human that you see here, he created. Every human type. Right? Enki portrayed as a serpent who drugged Eve and Adam. In some of the reports, some of the sequences, they say that Enki was portrayed as a serpent meaning the connections of the DNA sequences between the Anunnaki race and the human race. And in that Adam and Eve story, it is rumored that he connected the DNA so that they were able to breed. So Adam and Eve became a breedable race. Now, Enki loved humans and saved Noah and his family. So in the Bible, they have different gods. There's gods that are, they're bipolar gods, I call them. There's the gods that destroy humans. There's gods that love humans. There's a God that loves this human, but gods that doesn't like this humans. I mean, it's... Now, I would perceive it that they're different gods. Right? So these are also, we were talking about reptilian geneticists, but the Anunnaki are the greatest genesis, right? So they're master of DNA genetics, soul encasement, and the ability to even rise one after death. So this is a race and being who had the power to restore life. Go ahead.
What about the Elohim? How do they fit in?
Oh, the Elohim are actually Anunnaki that came here and fell in love with human adaptites, which were a hybrid between an Anunnaki and Homo erectus. So in religion, they're talked as being bad. Nephilim, they came and they disobeyed God. But when you really look at that, they were a higher being that came, mated with us, and we have them in our gene pool. So the Nephilim, in my opinion, could be a great thing for humanity because it upgraded our race or our races, right? And this is what the gods of the religion, the ones that created the religion, were so much in fear of or afraid of. They were upset. The humans already have Enki DNA, which is a ninth dimensional god, and these great souls. Now we got even more Anunnaki DNA coming into this race. So, there's a great fear of humans at that time, right? Go ahead.
In your opinion, did they do us good service? Are they actually responsible for having elevated it?
Absolutely. I mean, we'd probably, be riding horses right now. We might, maybe 100 years from now, maybe we'd have a TV set. I mean, yeah, they've advanced us millions of years ahead of time. I mean, we would eventually became like this, but not as quick. Primates, no limitations. They're not like our race where we're like, we're being careful. Oh no, I don't want to, or yeah. This race here, there's no limitations. I mean, they live for too long to put restrictions on themselves. If they want something, they take it, right? And disputes, how they solve their disputes, naked wrestling matches, draw sticks, committee in case, traitors, between brothers and sisters and wars and family and a family with this sister or a family with that sister. They were always constantly at war, and they often became traitors of a side. And this could be the very reason why the Anunnaki got defeated by a reptilian race, right? Because they themselves were created the wars between man and Anunnaki against Anunnaki, right? Bipolar, there are gods who love us and there are gods who hate us. Innovative. This race here would break any kind of rule, or ground the progress. It's not like us where we can't. This race here goes right to the very top. There's no restrictions. If they're gonna do something, they're gonna do it as great and as best as they can. They're not how do you call it, restrictive. They're very progressive, egotistical. They live so long, they look so young, and they're healthy and they're intelligent, right? And that's what they compete with. So
Did they build the pyramids?
the Anunnaki, absolutely they could build the pyramids, but a race such as that, they would probably create you to build it for them, right? That would make more sense, right? I mean,
Conceived of the pyramid.
what's that?
Conceived of the pyramid.
Seed?
Conceived.
Yeah. They were the ones that are responsible for the development of the pyramid. Absolutely. Okay, competitors. They're huge competitors. I mean, sport. This is all a part of their culture. They use their children to fight wars. I mean, can you imagine? Well, they had let's say Anki. Anki had 100 wives, and there's 1,000 children there in 10, 15 years, right?
So we were talking earlier, what James mentioned about positive ETs.
Yeah.
Are Anunnaki more negative, or is this just like the ruling hierarchy?
They're both. They're both positive and negative. I mean, yeah.
It seems very negative from this slide.
It could, but you could look at it as negative, but it's also very, very positive because when you're jealous, you're striving. When you're in a dispute, this is a race that's always inactive or very active or interactive. They're always on the go. What they do is they cut the man's genitals off and destroy them. And the reason for that is they want to be sure that the ancestors of the being or the Anunnaki that they've killed can't rise up and come back and kill them. The story of Osiris and Set were two brothers. Actually touches on that story very much.
Does this go into Greek mythology? Didn't what's his name, Zeus? Was Zeus the one who rose up, or was it another?
They probably in all at this level. If you don't do that, if you kill a human, another Anunnaki, and you don't do that, his kids are going to rise and they're going to come in and they're going to come after you and they're going to take you down. So as a general rule, at that level, this is something that they always do, right?
So are there fights going to be for similar reasons to what you fight?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's important to understand the breed by understanding, how they act and what they do, right? They disguise themselves as fish humans, lion humans, bird humans, and other creatures to get the humans to worship them. They use atomic weapons against each other and humans as soldiers. Wherever you see a desert today, that was a nuclear blast by Anunnaki technology. So in the Sahara Desert, there's a huge blast there. I mean, the pyramids survived, but that was an oasis there. Where do you get a desert that large? Right? So there was a massive war there. And these Anunnakis, before they left, they were so sour that the Anunnakis that didn't like us, they were so sour that they destroyed, pulverized any technology and advances that we wouldn't have it till years later, right? Rape was often committed. In their culture, they do it. They punish them, but it was a common thing between their race. They drink a fluid and bread which grants them eternal life. Breeding. Incestuous. The reason for incestuous was to contain the highest DNA group or seed. So it was very, they would marry brothers, sisters, cousins, would often marry so that they could stay high in DNA level. Go ahead.
Do they have like a judicial system with the rape and stuff? Or?
They have a committee, yeah, they do. They have a committee, but really you just get a slap in the wrist. And usually the girl that gets raped usually ends up becoming a wife of that person, right? Go.
I'm glad you just said that because I wanted to find out about the gender balance. And when you say rape, well, of course, because of our reality that we see it as rape is predominantly man raping woman.
Right.
Right? So I just want to know what their gender balance like and what their female representation in their race is like.
Yeah. Actually, the females are held in very high regards. They're very well respected in this race, and they carry the seed. So a woman has a lot of power and authority, and as well as a man does, right? So they're held in very high regards.
There was queens too. It went on the other way too. Queens.
I'm sorry?
There was a lot of queens in history, right? That had a lot of males, right, for that purpose, right? I think Cleopatra was one of them, right? So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Breeding, polygamous. Because they lived for a long time, they had many wives. And the reason for the many wives was that they could have a stronger clan. So, they took on wives. For instance, Abraham. Abraham had, 3 wives and 6 slave women that he would breed with, and he created his clan or his family. Well, the Anunnaki race would do the same thing, and they'd be at that point where they even race, his kids and my kids, his kids and my kids, and then now it's about this clan or it's the Borgalites and the Kundalini lights, and this is how they called them, right? This lights or this light, the N lights or the Enki lights, right? This is how they named them. Okay, even females. Okay, pleasure. Okay, an orgasmic privilege never denied to a god. They were gods, so they're not like, they don't deny themselves pleasure. They want it, they grab it, they take it. That's them, right? And this goes for the females as well, not just the males. Even the female goddesses, they would not deny that privilege, right? The human females, they're beautifully created, passionate. They were created for servant support, but aged and died quickly. This is the human females, what I'm talking about, right? They were beautifully created. They were passionately made, but they aged and died quickly. So if Anunnaki took a human as a wife, a female, his wife would die and he'd still be young. So this was a big thing. And one Anunnaki, his name was Marduk, he took on a human female wife, and he was denied entry back into Nibiru, right? Because he had a human wife, and his seed would be degraded, right? If God wants sex, if an Anunnaki wants sex it's a higher opportunity for an Earth woman. So if you're an Earth woman and an Anunnaki comes 12 feet, well-built, beautiful, a woman does not say no. They take that copulation with Earth ape to see if a child of value would be born. In our culture, we don't even comprehend that, but when they lived for that long, they would do that, and they even advertised it. Yeah, I took an ape and boom. At that level, they documented it. But no children were born with the Earth ape, right? That's okay. So go ahead.
You were saying
that the Anunnaki will interbreed like brother, sister, cousin. Is that similar to what the royals do and the elites?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, the elites will only breed with an elite family. If you breed with a non-elite, then you lose kingship. And I think that happened with King George, who married the divorced lady in the States. So yeah, who you marry is very important at that level, right? And that carries on till today.
Which is silly when you think about it.
Which is?
Which is silly when you think about it.
Yes, it is silly.
Yeah. Okay, cloning for test tubes and lab. Okay, they created cloning laboratories. They came here and they started laboratories, right? And they employed organic robotoids. So, not only did they make people, they had robots doing their work for them and chores and stuff. 7 to 35 feet in height. We look like them except the earth males. Okay. The Anunnaki don't have foreskin. So when they created the human, the most weirdest thing about us was we had a foreskin. They're like, but what's that? All right?
Hence, is that why they...
That's what the Jews do it?
Is that why the Jews do it?
Well, we're gonna go into that, right? Okay, it's possible that they may have Draco-reptilian amphibian DNA in them. It's possible. It's not confirmed because we were made in their image. The woman had tiny waist, large full breasts, and plump buttocks. That's how they were made, right?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. It's not really a sexist remark. It's just something that's just how it is, right? And it's a complimentary thing because that's the epitome of a woman is that type, right? 5 fingers and 5 toes. The men were powerfully built and rarely denied, right? I mean, when you see these guys, if they're coming after you, they're well built. They had larger eyes and a higher skull ridge. So the Anunnakis not necessarily had heads that came out this way. They had heads that came out this way, more than likely, right? So something like the pharaohs, right? But we're gonna
Goliath, David Goliath.
yeah, like Goliath would have been a yeah. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, there's an original Earth ape. Originally, the Earth ape at that time there were Homo erectus. They were standing. So here's Enki. He's portrayed as having wings. He's got a bucket where he does his mixing of clay and mud, and he's got his little magic there. So with this, he added his own to create this. Now, if you look at the Homo erectus, see how low the head is, right? But see how high the Anunnaki's head is. So the human, our heads grew up more than the ape, but not as high as the Anunnaki. So we became a blend species of this and that. And the Anunnaki created many races. It's not just the white race they created. They created the black race. They created Asian races. They created the Tamil races. They created all kinds of races, right? So, and each race they're all special races. There's not any race that's better than another race. I've met many people from all kinds of races, and they're just as great as any other races. So we can thank Anki that he created the races with dignity. Okay, what did they eat? They loved meat, and they ordered sacrifices of meat. Atomic goal for immortality. There's that story of Isaac, Abraham and Isaac, where, where Yahweh asks Abraham to kill his son. And Abraham was willing to kill his son, but then the angel stopped them, right? So I put a question mark here. Do Anunnaki eat kids? I don't know. So this is kind of a, you know, a little funny and kind of a question mark. And I couldn't find the answer to that. Okay, they eat dates, grapes, figs, olives, wine, pomegranates. They, more than likely, they even brought these seeds into the earth for us. Okay, Anunnaki quote Anki. Abandon thy house, Ziazudra, and build a boat. Its design and measurement on a tablet. A boat guide, Enki's son Ninagal, to you will come. To a safe haven, the boat guide will navigate you. By you shall the seed of civilized man survive. Not to you, Ziadua, have I spoken, but to the reed wall did I speak. Anki. That's, Ziadua would be a Noah, and Ninagal is Anki's son. So he built a boat. Now this boat would have been a submersible boat. It wasn't, Noah could not ride this boat. Anki sent his son, and Anunnaki was guiding this boat. And I assure you that in this boat there was DNA of all kinds of animals and stuff. And this is how it's written. Because he didn't speak.
Where's this written?
A Sumerian tablet. The reed, and also the Bible too. The Bible comes from the Sumerian tablets, right?
But the Bible talking about Noah.
Yeah. And he went against his father Anu and Anli, so he didn't speak to Noah. He spoke to a reed.